Kanye versus Pete, very interesting. Little more serious news. Does Pete have to be worried?
Does Pete have to be worried?
I haven't heard the lyrics, but he did throw some smoke at him.
He said he was gonna beat Pete. He would beat Pete Davidson's ass. That's what he basically said.
Do you think he can do that?
I don't know. I mean, he could barely open his jaw, so I'm not sure if he can throw hands.
I don't think Kanye can throw hands.
No.
Pete's a big kid too. He's skinny, but he's strong.
He's skinny, but he's strong.
Yeah, he's also like cut. Like his dad was a firefighter.
He has a swimmer's body if the swimmer was swimming strictly in Mountain Dew.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like a strong fentanyl addict.
Here's my thing about it. I mean,
Pete looks like he occasionally does fentanyl.
Allegedly.
And he's got his fingers painted. I did a rant at the beginning. I mean, are you goth or are you not? Let's stop it.
Yeah, he's
Boomer rules.
He's towing the line. What I do think is, I think Pete is more mentally strong than Kanye. Because right now, I'm not sure if you know, Kanye is dating the actor Julia Fox. She's from Uncut Gems, the Adam Sandler movie. She's a very, very good looking woman. And he's been staging like photographs with her, like on dates, like her half naked, him like eating on her stomach and stuff. It's like very, very weird things.
Yeah.
And that led up to him not knowing the address of his daughter's birthday, Chicago. He almost missed it.
Oh.
Travis Scott had to leak the address to him. So he's acting like very outward.
Right.
Pete, he moves on from Lady Kate Beckinsale. He's done with it. Now he's with Kim. So I think Kanye is mentally weaker than Pete.
Yeah.
And I think in that game, in the celebrity realm, that's all you need is mental toughness, not physical toughness, because it's never going to come to that.
Right.
Right. You're never going to have a fight between.
Well, but a guy like Kanye, who's
hanging out with Antonio Brown, who just had his big mishap, and
Yeah.
I didn't know that was Madonna. That's Madonna, right?
Yeah, it's Madonna.
Yeah, I didn't know that was Madonna. I thought that was like Iggy Azalea, but someone punched her in the face. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So it was like, so I think Kanye's just gonna lose the mental toughness battle because he's showing out, he's doing all these things, and Pete Davidson, he just stays to himself.
Yeah,
but his dick doesn't.
Yeah, no, his dick is the booster.
Yeah,
for some people, his dick is the booster. He ejects it. Pete, his dad died in 9/11. So he has a pain in him. I think he can handle stuff because that's a big pain.
Yeah,
he's also been a rehab and stuff. Like he's dealt with stuff, and he's a comedian, so he can always kind of use, because comedy helps you emotionally survive a lot of stuff.
Of course.
Kanye's like super talented. I love fucking Kanye's music. Not a great lyricist in my opinion, but I can't get enough of his songs, his beats. I just can't get enough. But Kanye, a lot of times very talented people are kind of mentally all over the place.
Yes, and also their trauma comes at different points in their career. Like for Pete, very young kid, and he grew up with that, and he grew up to learn how to come into that own trauma. Kanye, he lost his mom at a very pivotal part of his life. He was very good. He was on the rise and talking about his Donda, and then Donda, of course, the album that was made for him. And then she just passed away, and that was kind of like at the peak of his life. So it comes at a very different time where it can fracture you and not break you, or make you rather than an artist.
Right.
So
a lot of my trauma came later too. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
When did you get struck by lightning?
When I was in camp. When I was in camp, I was in sleepaway camp. That was a fun one. We got Ched, our buddy Ched. I mean, that's another story. And two other kids. I ever tell you that story, Jesse?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got electrocuted. I've been electrocuted by lightning. I've been shot. God is trying to whack me, dog. I didn't almost die from COVID, but if I didn't go to the hospital, they said I could have gone into a coma from the sodium levels being so low. What else happened? I've had my head split open with a bat. I had the poison. Remember when I was living, we were roommates? Yes. And I took an old Klonopin and had sushi, and then my heart rate went down to 20s. And it was actually, Chris DiStefano was the one that put it together for me. I was like, I must have eaten something bad, had food poisoning. And he was like, what did you do? And because I ate the old sausage so that didn't help.
And our refrigerator
was broken. So we had a broken refrigerator. We lived in his budget. We lived in our friend's old rent-controlled apartment that he used to live with his family. And they moved out. We renovated ourselves. We put down plywood. It was like, we lived there 8 years. We were paying like $300 each in rent. At one point, it was me, my girlfriend, and Jesse that lived there. At one point, it was me, my girlfriend, Jesse, and Steven. Stevie. So I think his family went back to the Cayman Islands, and they left the apartment was just there.
Yep.
And so we were like, it was in Park Slope. So it was like, it used to be in a bad area, and now it was like prime location. So I was there with my girlfriend, and yeah, I was under a lot of stress because me and her were like kind of, you could tell we were breaking up or whatever. We were like going through that breakup. It was bad. I was broke. I mean, I was so broke. She was paying my rent. I was a comic, young comic. I had nothing. There was one time I had no money. Remember when I ran out of money and I couldn't eat and I had to call my mom in Greece to order me Chinese food with her American Express card because you were gone.
When this whole thing happened?
It was around that era. Yeah, I didn't know where you were. I think you were started sleeping at Sousa's.
Yeah.
And so I was just alone in the apartment. I just had no money. I just got to the point where I had zero money. And I just, because when you get that broke, you just avoid it. You just kind of avoid it. And then I got to the point where I just had zero money. So, and I hadn't eaten. So, and my dad was away, I think. My dad was somewhere and my mother was in Greece. It was in the summer. So I just had to call my mother, wake her up at like 3, 4 in the morning. And I was like, I need to eat. And she ordered Chinese food with her American Express from Greece. That's funny. There was a call to a Chinese restaurant from Greece sending the food to a third location. It was around that time. It was a real low time. It was right before Maurisa. When we created Maurisa, it was like during the lowest part. She had left. I even used her jewelry and her clothes because she had left her clothes there. She was a jewelry. My ex-girlfriend worked in jewelry. So I used like her jewelry to put on Maurisa from like her closet. It was all her clothes and shit. We went and got the wig.
I think we were getting booted out of the apartment.
We were getting booted out of the apartment. The fucking landlord would come and knock and we would hide because he knew that the guy, Steve, our boy Steve, he knew that he wasn't there because he had another house in North Carolina or something.
He moved to North Carolina.
So it was just me and him. We were like hiding. We'd pay our rent with a
CD.
With a money order. We'd pay our rent by money order.
Yeah. So
it was like we were just squatting like for years. And so it was just a real low point, no money. And me and her were breaking up. And I had one of my mom's old Klonopins. And I never put this together, but the Klonopin might have been like 10 years old. And I popped it. Now, it was actually Chris that pointed it out, like, that's probably what did it. Like, that could poison you and kill you. You can't take like an old antidepressant. Like, when they expire, you got to throw them shits out. They become dangerous to your health. I mean, this one could have been 10 years old. I just had the bottle and it was old. And I wasn't popping Clonnies, So I popped it, and then I also ate the sausage that was in a broken refrigerator for like a week. So, dude, when I woke up, like, I got into the hospital, my heart rate was down to like 20 beats. They had to give me an adrenaline shot. They pulled out the pads. It was a wild experience.
We couldn't find you. We were looking for you.
Yeah. You didn't know where I was, right?
No.
You had an old Clonny and you ate old sausage?
Yeah, it was. And old pork can kill you. That's the thing about pork.
So that's how they train the Soviet soldiers, dog.
Yeah, we're weak,
bro.
right?
You probably a sleeper cell, son. You probably wake up in the middle of the night speaking Russian or some shit like that.
The irony is,
Winter Soldier.
Getting shot, getting electrocuted by lightning, all those things, getting the head split open, all that. The thing I came closest to death was eating the old pork and the old Clonny. Because, dude, my heart rate went down to 20s. They had to give me an adrenaline shot. Like, my heart was stopping. It's fucking wild. Anyway, I don't know where we started, but that was a good story.
Coming up, comic trauma with Pete Davidson.
So that was that was a dark time in my life. I remember when we actually filmed the Maurisa video in our living room, I was in a full panic attack during the character. But the only thing is I had worked that character out so good on stage. I'd been doing it for so long now on stage. So I knew I knew everything. So I was just kind of like, I wasn't all there, which is wild to think about. I remember feeling like I was going to pass out while we were doing it. And then it just hit. It was like a lifeline. It was like, it's funny how some of your biggest things that hit for you will come from your darkest times.
Moments.
That's where all your creative juices are flowing and stuff like that. And that thing was a fucking juggernaut. That thing went, whew. I mean, that shit was like in days. It was just took off immediately.
Yeah.
It was like, wow.
It was so different than all our other videos.
So different.
Our other videos would just be hovering around.
Yeah, hovering around 50,000, 30,000, 50,000. Then we started watching the Maurisa video. It was like, but the Panos ones would hit.
Yeah.
I had a character before her, Mr. Panos, that was like, I would get hundreds of thousands with that. Consistently, like hundreds of thousands. So that was like the biggest thing I had then. But that's for Greeks. So Greeks, there's only 1 million Greeks in the country. So it's like, and they can't go to a comedy show unless their grandmother's there. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like that wasn't going to support me. If you're a Greek comic, don't do Greek comedy. There's just not enough of them. If you're Indian, do Indian comedy. And then, we looked up. I remember it was after the first day and it was like 100,000, 200. And then it was just like It's like, what? Every time you refreshed it, it was like, what the fuck? And comics were reaching out to me, going like, yo, that shit is funny. And that was like it was weird because that was like the lifeline I needed at that moment. And then, and that was it. And then things started going okay. So hang in there. Another Dr. Phil Pappas. Hang in there. You know, yeah, I mean, when things are hard, you just got to wait. You got to wait. Things always get better. They don't stay. Don't freak out about freaking out. When you're freaked out, don't freak out, dude. It's just a part of life. It goes like this, you know? Unless you're Jesse. Jesse goes like this. Your lows and highs are just like that.
You barely notice them.
Yeah, if you're Yanni Long Days, they go like this. And if you're Jared, they just go like this. I mean, the kid is fucking cold as ice. He's got ice in his... You ever do this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kid is fucking ice. So Tulsi Gabbard's a piece is what we're saying.
Yeah.
And
she looks like Rogue from X-Men.
Yeah. And that's it. We're going to end on Pete. You know, if they fought, I think he could make a lot of money, you know, but Pete is one of those guys that's just moving up who you just have to root for. You know, he's famous for, you know, the biggest thing he's known for is the women he dates, and that's fun. And now he's a candidate to host the Oscars. He's going to host the Oscars. They may have him host the Oscars. He definitely speaks to his generation, I think. And so they know that, like, I think powers that be know, like, hey, this kid, you know, he's a Gen Z kid. Is he Gen Z? 20? No, he's like 27 now. He's not even that young anymore. Yeah.
I think he's around like 26.
Yeah, he's just having a fucking amazing life and good. There's not many of them left, you know? There's not many of them left going out there just slinging dick like PDD. So I'd love to, you know, if he hosts the Oscars, I'm still not tuning in. But let's just say, how low do you think the Oscars is going to be this year? The Oscars ratings.
The ratings? Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, dude.
Although for Pete, I might want to tune in for that.
Might tune in for Pete, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think he did okay on New Year's Eve with Miley Cyrus, who you knew he injected with the beef.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did that before.
I hope he gives us a lecture. I hope he gives us a woke lecture.
A woke lecture would be fun. He's got Hillary Clinton tattooed on him, and that's why they love him, because he's like a safe rebel. You know, you get John Belushi.
Yeah.
You don't know if he's going to show off naked or in a diaper. You don't know if Chris Farley's going to remember his name. Like, Pete is clean in rehab. He's got painted fingernails and all that. He's tattooed up, but one of those tats is Hillary Clinton, and that's all that matters.
Yeah,
you're good to go.
What, he lose a bet?
He loves Hillary Clinton. At one point, he just loved Hillary Clinton. Yeah, you know.
I would watch the Oscars if all of his ex-girlfriends were nominated for something.
Yes.
Yeah. I would watch the Oscars if, you know, during the Oscars they do the in memoriam for all the actors that passed. If they did an in memoriam for all the chicks that he fucking laid out.
We're writing his opening right now.
We're writing your opening. Do a video of all the chicks who you slayed and just put the date next to it.
Hell yeah.